Cougar Camp All-Access with wide receivers coach Guy Holliday. Coach, we were just joking before you came in. You have so much talent at the wide receiver position. How many 7 wide sets are we going to see this year?
Heck, I wish we could do that, but you can only put 5 on the field at one time, and we'll see. We'll see as the offense evolves how we use everybody, and it's just for me, it's an exciting time, and I'm looking forward to it.
You mentioned that you need 6 to 8 guys to really make this offense tick. How many different receivers are we going to see on the field this year?
I'm hoping we see 8. A minimum of 6. Again, I think last year we got in a situation where we really didn't have the legs, and so my goal is, and I know Coach and I's goal is to get us to the season fresh and healthy, and at the same time still be demanding. So you're going to see at least 6 of them out there, and hopefully as many as 8.
After last season, you lose the top 3 receivers. In recruiting, you addressed that. Is that validated in any way through the first couple days of practice where, okay, we replaced those guys and upgraded the talent?
In college football, it's year to year. So what it validated for me is at the end of this season and see how good we are. I can't say after 3 days or 4 days how good we're going to be, but I think we addressed the needs. This group of receivers is different than the previous group. So that's what makes college football exciting. And I don't expect anything less than to be really good, because if you do, you're not going to be. So, yeah, do I think the needs were addressed? Sure. It's all a matter of how we use our tools and weapons. And, what a lot of people don't understand, it changes from year to year. You may have been really good throwing these particular routes one year, and then the following year you may be better at something else. It's just the way the game evolves. So I'm looking forward to it.
It would seem that over the first few practices, the deep ball has been kind of a concerted effort. Your quarterback's been chucking it down the field with that speed and the receivers. What kind of an impact do you feel like the speed and the deep ball will have for BYU in this 2014 season?
Well, I know, and it's funny because Taysom Hill is right there, and him and I talked in the offseason, and I told him one thing. We're going to be able to stretch the field, and we're going to go get you some guys that can stretch the football field. And because I really think in the passing game, there's nothing that breaks a defensive back like a long completion. And in the past, teams will press you because they don't believe you can get over the top. So that was the one thing we wanted to address, was being able to get over the top. And it's been built into this pass game, for the longest. And like I said before, we coming here, we kind of took a little bit of Arizona and Washington State, or Texas Tech, I should say, and blended it with the true West Coast play action down the field game that I'm used to. So it's really exciting to see guys run by people.
Just us here. Taysom's not here. What do you really think of Taysom Hill?
It's really funny because Taysom and we have a different relationship. I have a lot of respect for Taysom. We're really close, I would say. We talk a lot about different things, what he likes and how he wants things done, and he's a quarterback, and that's what a quarterback should do. So my job in coaching receivers is to make an adjustment where the quarterback's going to be comfortable. I think the key is, when you're in good offenses, the quarterback's never wrong. And so that's my job, to make sure he's never wrong. And so him and we talk, at least once a day probably, a lot of times after practice, going off the field or during practice, and he'll say, hey, what do you think about this? So, and I wouldn't want it any other way, because if you can't communicate with that guy and you don't know what he's thinking, it doesn't make any difference. So I think he's maturing. I think he's throwing the ball really well, and his decision-making is quicker. I think a lot of people expected so much from Taysom his first year back, really taking snaps in a game. Practice is one thing, but game time is another. And I thought he had an outstanding year, and I'm looking forward to him being known more for his arm than his legs.
Cougar Camp All-Access.
Was that all right, Taysom? Was that answer all right? That was acceptable, he says. Yeah, thanks, Taysom.
Okay.
Trying to distract me at the beginning of this.
Yes, Cougar Camp All-Access with receivers coach Guy Holliday. Coach, on the fall camp roster sheet, listed as tight ends are Keanu Nelson and Jordan Leslie. What's that all about, and are you just planning on going 5 wide, or how does that work into the roster?
Well, I think what we do is we play inside and out. Jordan is really versatile, and he played inside and out for me at UTEP, and he'll do the same here. We're going to do the same thing with Mitch Matthews. We're going to put guys. I think one thing that we learned in the go fast, go hard offense, we can't sacrifice having guys in the right position to make plays based on position. So, you know, they're listed as tight ends. Let's hope everybody looks at them as tight ends and keeps linebackers on the field, and that gives us a good advantage. By the way, Taysom is not that great of a guy. He was just standing here. I just just kidding.
So are those guys more like H-backs in the slot, or Y? You know?
You could say they play inside. But we have great versatility. I prefer not to label them.
Okay.
You know, to say that they're tight ends, no, they're not tight ends. They're not going to put their hand on the ground, anything like that. We're going to move those guys around based on matchups. If we can get 9, as I call them, Jordan matched up on the safety, I think we have a huge advantage. And you know, I mean, for me, he you know, led the nation in, or second in the nation in yards per catch, and his specialty is going down the field. And if we need to put him outside to do that, that's where we'll go. The bottom line is, guys, they're all receivers, and we're going to take advantage of their attributes and what make them special. That's what good football is to me.
Coach, great to have you with us. We'll get back to you when we ask Taysom what he thinks about you.
That'll be an interesting answer, and if he says anything smart, I'll kill him and his whole family. Thanks,
Wow.
a lot.
Thanks, Coach.